Hey, and welcome everybody to the Deconstructor of Fun podcast. Today, my guest is Timmu Tõke. I mispronounced your name, Timmu. I'm really sorry, but the first name is right, correct?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's very good. It's the international version. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Timmu, you're a CEO at Ready Player Me, previously known as Wolf 3D. It's a cross-game avatar platform for the Metaverse. That seems like the perfect sentence to raise money. So can you tell a little bit about your company, because this is not a company that you started last quarter. It has actually been live for a good while. So you're not chasing the bags with the latest, NFT and Metaverse and all these integrations. You've been actually doing this for a hot minute. So tell me a little bit about Wolf 3D and Ready Player Me.
Sure, happy to do that. So we've been around for 8 years actually, and it all started from building hardware-based 3D scanners that we basically use to scan tens of thousands of people. And but the goal was always to basically make it easy for end users or like normal users to create an avatar of themselves that kind of resembles themselves and they can use in games and virtual worlds. And yeah, start from hardware. Then we built a kind of deep learning solution from this data we collected with hardware. That took a single selfie and converted it into like different styles of avatars. And that was basically an SDK we sold to gaming companies. So our customers were like Tencent, Huawei, HTC, Vodafone, Verizon, not just gaming companies, all kinds of like people that needed avatars, I guess. And what ended up happening is like we sold the SDK, but developers always needed the whole avatar system around that as well. So we ended up building the character system, the clothing system, all this stuff around it. And then we started automating that for ourselves over the like 3 or 4 years that we built this like custom avatar systems, and then eventually landed on a solution that is actually so easy that anyone can integrate on their own, like developers can integrate on their own, and that's Ready Player Me. And that's where we kind of realized we can build a platform around it, and we can make it into like a plug and play solution that anyone can integrate, and drop the enterprise business, and then build Ready Player Me. And Ready Player Me was launched 1.5 years ago, and it's for developers. It's an easy to use avatar system, so you wouldn't have to invent your own. And for end users, it's an avatar that you can use across many different worlds, virtual worlds across the metaverse. And launched 1.5 years ago. Today we have 1,400 companies that are integrating and using Ready Player Me. So that's the developer adoption has been quite great. So in January, we added like 300 new companies that use our avatar system. So yeah, that's been good. But we started off a lot before avatars were needed.
So why did you where does this? Because you've been let me just reverse back. 1,600 companies. That's a lot. Let me just unpack this for myself. The avatar system that you have in Wolf 3D, is it more, can I describe it as Bitmoji on steroids?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's more like, we started off having a very simple avatar system, but it's like gaming oriented. So, if you are building a game and you don't want to invent an avatar system and spend, 6 or 12 months on doing that, then we just give you a character system, and it works in Unity, Unreal, and so forth. So it's actually like a plug and play gaming avatar system. But from an end user's perspective, it's kind of like Bitmoji, but in 3D or in virtual worlds, in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. So I at least get a picture, because there's the Snap games, and they use the Bitmoji as a system to make your own characters and play in them. Of course, they use the only single type, but that's what I meant, kind of like on steroids, meaning like just better, faster. More beautiful, more healthy, all the things that come in with steroids. I don't know. Anyways, so why did you start with this idea of avatars? Like where because you started that way long before even the word metaverse, it kind of, was in the not popular culture, but when it was normal, like people didn't talk about metaverse like they do now. So how did that idea come by?
Yes, I mean, I've been a gamer myself since I was a kid. I played RuneScape a lot when I grew up, and sold RuneScape Gold to other kids in school, and that was like I think I did for a while. So like virtual economies and virtual worlds were interesting from that point. already. And then that I started messing around with 3D, led to 3D printing, 3D scanning, and it was just like, in school, just doing some projects and like but it had some like context on the space. And then when Oculus was acquired by Facebook, we realized that okay, like VR is probably going to be a thing. Like back then, we thought that's the case, and then VR is going to be social, and in social VR and social interactions, avatars are kind of who you are, and so avatars are important. And the state of avatars 8 years ago was, not great. So we were like, okay, this problem needs to be solved, and there's no way to build like a software-based avatar creator that will create an avatar that looks like you in the beginning. So we built hardware actually at this like kind of egg-shaped scanning booths we had in airports and in a Heureka museum in Finland, for example. Yeah. And we used those to capture a lot of data of faces, like of human faces, and then basically using that data, at the same time, like deep learning came around, and it was easier to build build that stuff basically, and then we had this like proprietary database of scans. And then we actually managed to build like a software-based solution. But it all started from just believing that VR is going to be a thing, and then avatars are going to be needed in VR because it's going to be a social platform. And then it just took many years to get there. And like obviously we learned a lot over the years ourselves. And we were 20 when we started, didn't really understand anything about anything.
That's a good start for any company, but wanted to do something cool, but didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
Well, listen, here's an interesting part that always kind of confuses me, like coming from the perspective of now I would almost have to say a conservative game developer, because I do free to play games and it seems like I'm like an old timer now. So the whole idea of hold on, how do you write it on your webpage? A cross-app Metaverse 3D avatar platform. So meaning that you can create an avatar and use it across different apps in a wider space of Metaverse, or just an avatar that can be used across apps. I've only seen that happening with Snap. Like, how are you imagining? Like, how does this work? Because the way I'm approaching it is like, if we do an avatar system or integrate an avatar system in our game, like having a certain art style and the way it's built, the skeletons, the rigging, the animation, like everything is very specific for a specific game. And imagining something that is in Fortnite, imagining the same thing in bad example, Call of Duty or Candy Crush, it just doesn't fit and it's too weird. Like, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, how do you solve this issue, and is it even an issue, or am I just like a dinosaurs?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely an issue, but it's less of an issue than we ourselves even thought. So definitely, there's different kind of styles of games and worlds, and we, right now we have one kind of style that you can slightly customize, but we're creating more style templates to cover like different areas. And then developers themselves can create assets for the avatar. So that also like helps them style them and so forth. When it comes to the rigs and the specifics of the avatar, we support several different rigs. We can even support a custom rig. But if the end user goes from your game that has your rig to another game that has a different rig, we do the magic in the background and just make it work basically. So that's that part. But of course, it's like not something that game developers are used to. Like that kind of giving that part away or not doing that part. And that's kind of like something that we are doing the education for, I guess. But ultimately, it just gives you so much more time and energy to put into the core gameplay and core game or experience you're building, and it just takes away this like important piece of thing you have to build otherwise. And also like over time, we're bringing in like branded content. We're working with like New Balance, Dior, Warner Brothers, like Dune movie outfits and stuff like that into our game that you can sell yourself. And also like people that have created an avatar in one of the apps and have bought something for their avatar, they want to use this stuff in your game as well. They might come in and explore. There's like kind of reasons, benefits of being in the network that we're now starting to introduce as we're getting to like a critical mass of network, basically. But yeah, so there's like multiple parts there, basically.
But these certain parts that are like I'm trying to be the conservative here.
Please,
So here's what my brain doesn't get, and that is,
Yeah.
I'm playing like this one game that has integrated Ready Player Me. I make a dope Dune costume. Actually, I spend money on it. I spent like $30 on making my guy look like the Batista in Dune. He's all tatted up, big, bald, and ready to kick ass. All right, I like this character. Now, I like it so much that there's another game that I'm playing. Let's say it's a similar action game, and I want to use the character there, but the game is by a different publisher, a rival publisher, if you will.
Yeah.
Why would the rival publisher allow that? Like, I understand there's a point of having a player play both games, and of course they engage, and it's a bigger audience, but that's not how different publishers see it. They don't want it. They don't want something being spent on other platform to be used on their platform. They want the same thing to be. I'm meaning they want you to spend money on their platform. So you build something on the other one, no bueno if you come with that shit into my game. Like, you have to build your own Dune thing here as well.
Yeah.
What am I getting wrong with this type of a limited thinking?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is definitely the kind of the thinking right now in the industry. So what do we do, for example, to help that? Is that we distribute the revenue from the sale based on where the sale is made, and then where the assets are used. So if you buy it from a game A and you actually spend most of your time in game B playing with these assets, then game B gets the revenue from that as well. And that's kind of work?
But how does
so
that work?
It's based on engagement and time and spent in multiple games. So basically, where you get the utility for owning this asset is where the revenue is part of the revenue is made. The one that makes the sale also gets a part, and then the part that kind of offers utility for the assets gets another part.
So let me throw an example. Something costs 20.
Yeah.
20 Ethereum. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Let's go all the way in.
Yeah.
So
like a mid-priced NFT.
Yeah, exactly. A mid-priced NFT. So Tenzo goes right away to the game that is being used at, and then the second Tenzo is being divided by a certain, what is the time of utility? Like, when is it fully paid out? And how is that tracked? I'm curious.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, those are things that we are building out at the moment. The first kind of state of the tools was just to save developers time from having to build their own outer systems. And now we're starting to work with monetization. So we're building out all these models and tools, and that's an evolution. So it depends on it's basically engagement, which is time and frequency and all things, the many things combined that we use to distribute this. But it's an evolving system. The point is, developers want to sell stuff in their game that works in 1,000 other games. Nobody's against that,
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, you don't want to kind of get random crap in your game without getting the benefit of you have to get paid for that, basically. So that's what we're trying to achieve with this model. And it's not it's not perfect yet, but that's it helps us introduce more open economies into games. Because what we believe in very much is that open economies are better. So if you can even take a look at, you can just think about the country. And if a country you close down your borders, you don't do business with anyone. So basically, in real world, having an open economy is almost always a good decision for the size of the economy and for everyone involved in this economy. So we believe that's true in the virtual world as well. And also, at the same time, the trend that is happening is a lot of new virtual worlds and games and metaverses are more for a general kind of audience. So there's general social media audience, which is the aesthetics are more general and more more generic, I would say.
Yeah.
So that also kind of makes it easier to have this one style or limited styles, and it's not for the kind of the classic gamer that wants to go in and kind of escape into a story or into a game. And
so you're talking about things like Rec Room, for example.
Yeah, Rec Room. Yeah, Rec Room is a perfect example. Or even like Roblox. It's also like a
Mm-hmm.
very kind of socially driven
Yeah.
experience.
Though the
There's a
avatars
lot.
are not not very
Yeah,
appealing.
they're quite blocky.
Yeah, let's say
Yeah.
they could use a round corner. So talk to me about, because this is clearly not something that a mobile platform could adopt, because they're, Apple, Google, walled gardens. They don't want any of that. Even making purchases outside the app stores, they're already, slapping tax on that one as well. So
Yeah.
what is, like, I would be very curious to hear, like, what are some of the best implementations that you've seen right now from your clients that are heading towards that direction? Because I understand that you're describing a world of the future, 5, 10 years from now. But in terms of today, like, what companies are doing this? What are the platforms, and what are the sort of examples that set the way for the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. And by the way, mobile does still work. So like you can also have
Hmm.
like a traditional in-game economy, which is like non-cross-game assets. You just create stuff for it on the avatars and you sell them as in-game purchases. Like that's also there. So and that is actually that lives side by side with like this cross-game economy.
Hmm.
So only
So,
some
yeah.
assets,
Got it.
yeah,
So
can
basically, like, using your tool is just not having to build it, and it's
yeah.
a really simple SDK that allows you to have a pretty awesome avatar system. That it isn't an SDK that is
Yeah.
also updated with the current stuff. So you say you're working with a bunch of brands, the New Balances, the Dior's, you name it,
Yeah,
Balenciaga, hopefully,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like that type of stuff. So
yeah,
once I implement it in my game, like, can my guy have Balenciaga neon green giant shoes, or like, do I
yeah,
get it from your side?
yeah, totally. So
Oh, awesome.
we
Okay,
we make those
that's
deals, we bring those assets,
that's
and
awesome.
also like
Okay, yeah.
yeah, and like we do also like we do NFT drops ourselves. So like
Mm-hmm.
yesterday we launched a drop for CryptoPunks owners. So if you own a punk, which is like $200,000 plus
Yeah.
minimum, you can generate a 3D version of the punk that is like a gaming avatar basically, and then that lives in our ecosystem. It goes to different games, and the
Mm-hmm.
revenue we generate from this drop, we actually share 50% of that to the games and apps based on where the assets are used. So you actually get paid for letting those NFTs to come into your game.
Wait a minute. You lost me like halfway through. So I own
Yeah,
a CryptoPunk. That way,
yeah,
okay. I'm not that dumb that I don't know what CryptoPunk is. All
yeah,
right, now I got it. Like, one of those lucky or crazy people who have spent enormous amount of money on this picture. That
yeah,
is not very pretty either. But who am I
yeah.
to judge? So
I have to
so
look at it for a long time. I like it now.
yeah, well, you
Yeah,
like the money behind it. It's the same thing. It's like you can look at a gold bar too. It might not be that pretty, but it's really
yeah,
nice in terms of value. Um,
yeah,
so I have this, and we create, like, okay, I'm going to use Ready Player Me. I'm going to create an avatar out of it, and I'm going to
hmm.
play. Give me an example of a game. Axie, can I play it in Axie?
No,
No,
VR
god
chat.
damn it.
Let's say
VR
VR
chat. All
chat.
right, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
into a VR chat and to really, what's the perfect word? Flex on everybody with my
Flex.
crypto.
Exactly.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna flex with my CryptoPunk. Like, how? Like, where? What do you mean the revenue is being distributed? So the revenue will go to VR chat app that I'm using my CryptoPunk. But did I spend money in minting my CryptoPunk? Like, how?
Yeah.
Where's the money? Like, I'm looking for the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. Totally. So like the what we created is like a derivative of the CryptoPunk. So
Uh-huh.
I'll just share you a link. So you just
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
For
click
those
on.
listening, I will just describe it.
Yes, it's punks.readyplayer.me. But just to give you an idea of what it is, so basically that's a
Oh, wow.
derivative NFT you can generate yourself from your punk. Each one is unique. The punk's attributes like the hair and stuff like that. They're on badges. You have the punk
Hmm.
on a TV, and it's like a 3D avatar body for your punk basically. And then that's an NFT you buy for 0.33 ETH. And then that's like $1,000 basically, and then you can use it in Ready Player Me network. If you're a game that allows that NFT to come into your game, then we share the revenue from the drop from the NFT sales with you.
Nice.
So it's a completely new kind of a revenue stream for you.
Perfect. There's a link in the description of this podcast, so just go in there. It's going to be there. punks.readyplayerme.me. No, punks.readyplayer.me. Anyway, link in the description, so I've added it there. Okay, well now, I get it. Kind of get it. Hopefully I get it. I want a CryptoPunk to to really get it.
Yeah, you should get one.
I hope this podcast does a little bit better so I can invest into CryptoPunk. Since we're talking about the CryptoPunks and everything, so what is, the current state, the problems, the future that you're seeing with this NFT? Because I understand that even though your business has now success in terms of companies can implement the SDK, there's a tremendous boost that can be received from that because you are essentially doing all the partnerships. So I can get into my game bunch of really cool looking skins and elements without really signing deals with the New Balances and the Under Armours of the world. And the dunes and etc. So that's a tremendous value. But going in the future, I presume that your focus is really on Web3. So how do you see Web3? What is your even definition of Web3? What are the problems? What's the future? So talk the crazy stuff to me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I guess it's important for us to be like a mainstream platform. So we can't be too crypto too early, and we are experimenting with Web3. We're doing some NFT drops and so forth, but it's an optional part of the platform for developers and for end users as well. So we're not, it certainly feels that ownership of digital assets is going to be good for virtual worlds and for the metaverse, and NFTs look like it's a good way to kind of create that or and solve that problem. So that's why we think it's good to experiment with that, and also obviously great to generate revenue with that and then distribute that back to developers and games, because that helps us help the games and attract more developers on the platform, because the goal is of course to be a universal avatar platform for the metaverse. And one part of the question was kind of what Web3 is for us. I think it's generally like crypto based experiences. I think Web3 can also be DeFi and like kind of decentralized finance, like all this kind of crypto stuff aside of NFTs as well. I think it came to the popular media and stuff from NFTs. So I think NFTs are like important because they're easy to understand well, they're not easy to understand.
I would argue that.
It's not easy to understand the value behind them sometimes, I guess, but it's like I own this piece of a skin. I own a skin and it's an NFT and I can sell it.
I can resell it. I think that's the biggest thing compared to digital goods as it is that you can actually resell the stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And like what we are trying to do with NFTs is like when you attach an NFT to our router, then it actually becomes like a metaverse NFT. It becomes usable in more than 1,000 platforms now or games, which kind of like so the success of the NFT doesn't depend on one single game that's given out. So it's just not like a secondary marketplace for one game, and if the game goes down, probably the NFTs are not worth a lot as well. It's an NFT that is for avatar that you can use in a game you play or a virtual concert you go to, or and so forth, and hopefully you'll find more use cases over time as we add more and more games and so forth. So yeah.
Does a skin NFT have to be unique?
NFTs don't have to be unique, but you can have. So there's limits. They can have 10,000 of the same looking NFTs, but then in the contract there is like you'll always have only 10,000 of them.
Got it.
And like people buying Ready Player Me NFTs early, it's like one part of it is just that people want to use it in the virtual world, but I think the current market also looks at it as an investment a little bit. Like, okay, I have Ready Player Me, it's like early NFTs. Like if this platform is successful, it's probably
speculative
going to be valuable.
Asset.
Yeah, speculative. Yeah, it is. And the market is very much driven by speculation.
Yeah.
And like I've personally been in the space, in the NFT space, for I don't know, a year or a little bit less than a year. So like,
which is already a long time for any.
Yeah, like basically the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time since the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had hundreds of NFTs, and like it made
You do?
no sense
You have
to
hundreds
me.
of NFTs?
I do, yeah.
What is your most valuable NFT?
At the moment, I think it's a Clone X avatar at the moment. I have a few art pieces also that like 20 or something like that.
Oh, wow. Like 20 Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
What is the most expensive avatar done in Ready Player Me? Like the value, how high has it gone?
Yeah, I mean, like we actually just did our first NFT drop ourselves, like you know, few days ago. So and those are like they go for $1,000 now. We did the drop with Deadmau5 in the end of last year. And that was like a partner drop. We just kind of integrated with our avatars. They did the drop and the marketing on their website and so forth. And yeah, we sold a few million of them like in a few days. So but yeah, there was like one piece was like the ETH price changes was like $500 to $600.
Yeah. And do you follow like what their price is? Like, are they being resold in OpenSea or?
Yeah, the floor price is like similar. Some bigger ones have been sold for like 6,000 or 9,000 and something like that for like more rare ones. Yeah.
And do you get the revenue from that if somebody sells it in OpenSea, or is it just like the person who's reselling it? So it's like an asset afterward, or how does it work?
Yeah, we get the royalties from the aftermarket. So with like successful NFT, yeah. So that's a good thing, and like with successful NFT projects, actually most of the revenue over the long run comes from royalties, not the primary sale.
Sorry, I just keep like throwing so many questions because this is like interesting.
Totally.
Who are your competitors?
Yeah,
like is Facebook and Snap like Facebook is Meta your competitor nowadays, or like what is the market looking like?
Yeah, so I mean, Meta definitely is a competitor, and they're building an avatar system, you know, with a similar kind of value proposition to ours, but it's stuck in their own ecosystem. And you know, Meta is not a very attractive brand for developers.
You're calling Facebook not sexy? Oh wow!
Yeah. So. Yeah, but then they're building a closed outer system. So like our goal is to be open, connect different parts of the ecosystem. Snap is kind of similar. You know, you need to have a Bitmoji already, and then you can redeem it in apps if you log in with Snap. Yeah, but there's some startups.
Did Meta come to you and be like, Timmu, like, what are we doing here? Like, come on, dude, join the
pretty much.
Join the Death Star. Like, let's go, dude.
Yeah, they're Let's say it's a hot
no offense towards Meta, like or Facebook, like I really like. We're just joking, guys. Anyways, so this concept that you actually said, they are building their own metaverse, and we're more for the open metaverse. Interesting. How do you see this evolving? Like, is there gonna be the Rebel Alliance of metaverse, like one metaverse that is not in any metaverse, and then there's the Amazon metaverse, the Google metaverse, the Facebook, the Tencent metaverse. Like how is it gonna go?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way we can actually get like a fully open metaverse is like if it goes beyond just being a philosophical thing and being a practical business decision, you know, and like it's not sure exactly how that's going to, like, what are the business models that need to be created and how is that going to work. But ultimately, if we want the big companies to not try to own the metaverse and to take part and like kind of open it up, it needs to be a good business decision for them. And I think you know, over the next few years, we'll see from the POC of the open metaverse, which is kind of the first crypto worlds and like this kind of Web3 world, which is naturally more open. I hope the POC of that part of the metaverse shows to the rest of the world that this is at least something to experiment with, or something to like do, because it's just a better business. It has to be a better user experience, obviously, and it just has to be a better system, basically.
Did you say the PLC of that metaverse?
POC, so like a proof of concept of the
okay, got it. I was just making sure that I understand everything. Got it. Yeah, the proof of concept.
Proof of concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How about the recent crash in not a crash? I don't look at crypto prices every day. I do have some, but it's, that would be like they go so much in every direction that I don't want to even open up the app. Let's be honest.
It's so. A good decision.
Like I have no idea what the numbers are today, but or yesterday or even last week. But in terms of like my perception is that the values have been going down quite significantly with the interest rates going up, and that causes a lot of people who were putting in assets into crypto just because the interest rates were so low and you were kind of looking for high risk investments. So now they're pulling their money out, putting it to Berkshire Hathaway or all the other kind of like gold and you name it. Does that affect the prices, and how does that affect your business on a short term?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, actually, when ETH price goes down, NFT activity goes up.
Oh, wow.
So like when ETH goes up quickly, then people don't want to like trade NFTs because that they're like afraid to lose their ETH, which becomes more valuable every day, basically. So versus like when ETH goes down, then actually there's a lot of NFT activity. So like a flat market is best for us. So like a slightly, that's probably like best for NFTs. Whenever the price fluctuates, it definitely like affects the market activity. But yeah, it's kind of vice versa. So and if ETH goes up, NFT activity goes down, and vice versa, which is like kind of not intuitive maybe, but
well, it is in a sense intuitive because, to my understanding, the people who are buying most NFTs are those who have a lot of cryptocurrencies. So essentially, when the value of cryptocurrency goes down in terms of fiat, they consider that now it's a cheaper price to invest it into NFTs. And since they already have a lot of cryptocurrency, that means that they are crypto believers. They see the future. So that's the point where they make most of their investments, because they consider that it's a sale on NFT assets that will be more valuable in the future.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. And so like actually the activity has gone up a lot over the last like month, or like last 3 weeks or wherever the kind of the correction was, but it's actually gone up quite a bit since the like crash. I think it was like 1,900 at the bottom. now it's like 3,000 something to $3.2K ETH. But those things are not something that we put a lot of energy into. Like
you can't do anything about it.
No, and like as an investor in cryptocurrency, I'm better off just like ignoring all of that stuff and just like it's like
just like the comment section of this podcast. I treat it the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your company. So you started off, you were 20 strong, in Estonia, probably in Tallinn. Great city for startups. I think the taxation is a very, very strong pull. But so you started there. How's your company looking now, and what is your kind of like a short-term goal, meaning like inside a year, and what is your I probably impossible to say long-term, but what is like a midterm, like I'm talking about like a 3-year goal?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, like we've been around for a while. We closed the Series A in the end of last year, so now we raised like $16.5 million
with North Zone, right? North Zone.
No, actually, I think North Zone made the intro, but they didn't take part of the round.
Oh wow! So yeah. Okay, so just the background of this. So I got an intro from a VC from North Zone. And they did not make. I thought that you're a portfolio company since they made the intro, but all right.
No, but it was at the time when we were speaking. But so Sten Tamkivi and Taavet Hinrikus led the round, so co-founders of Wise and Teleport, and many other people involved there. Samsung Next, co-founder of GitHub.
And Wise is Wise is an Estonian company, right? The background is from Skype, right?
Wise.
Yeah. Exactly. Wise is great. Exactly. I use that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're, did a $10 billion IPO, I think a year ago or so. And now, they're investing in startups, and they're great people to work with, and operators, and have been super helpful. So they led the round. But the question was, kind of what's the goal?
Yeah.
What's the
and like what's your current state? Like how many people there are? How are you organized? How have you been working through the pandemic? Like it's probably been really great time for anything Web3, especially with the rounds. But like tell me a little bit about like how is your company running and what does your company look like? Like you're now in New York, you're going to LA. Life is good.
Yeah.
So,
life is intense.
Life is well. I get it.
Same thing.
Same thing. Intense is good. And like what is? How are things? And like how does it look like?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So like we have 35 people at the moment, or 37 or so, and they're located mostly around Europe. Tallinn is the biggest location. We have Berlin. I have Helsinki, actually. One person right now, but hiring more. So Barcelona, I think where you are at the moment, or you're
Spain? I'm not in Barcelona. I'm more like in the Malaga region, but yes, close.
I see. Got it.
Relatively there.
Nice. And then I've moved to New York myself. Because we're building a team here, and like the kind of sales and marketing team will be here because most of the customers are in the US. And we're scaling, and we're like hiring we're scaling to 70 people, so like doubling the team from here. And that's going to be it is a good challenge. But if there's anyone listening that is interested in like kind of contributing into building the open metaverse, then please let me know. What kind
of a talent you're looking for? Because there are plenty of people listening who are really into the Web3 and blockchain gaming and so forth. So what is specific talent? And also I wanted to ask, New York, is New York like the crypto center, or is it Miami? Like which one? Because I've heard both.
Yeah, I would say both are strong. Like my choice to be in New York is it's easier to get here from Europe.
Less distractions.
There's no distractions here. It's a nice quiet place with nothing to do. And then but it's easy to come here. It's like 7-hour time difference, so wake up super early, have a good overlap with European teams, and there's a lot of crypto activity here for sure. But like we're not a crypto company. We don't kind of label ourselves as.
But people are trading in crypto, and that's kind of like the future. So that's why I mean, like Web3 is the future. So I was just mainly asking, like, because I've heard about Miami, and it sounds kind of crazy that they would be the center of this. Because no offense, but I don't think. But Miami is like not the first thing that, and if I think that the crypto is out of Miami, like that's for sure a scam. Again, no offense, but it's just like the first thing.
Good city to own a Lambo.
Not even own, rent a Lambo. It's a little bit of a different, but I've heard a lot of things about New York, that there's like a more of like an in-depth scene there, and so you're currently 35, you're scaling for 70. What are the type of people that you're looking for?
Yeah. I mean, so like many different roles. Around Europe, it's mostly like some more product management and product leadership, both on kind of developer tools and consumer. Then developers from Unreal to Unity developers to full stack developers, and like technical artists, just character artists, and then customer success, sales, or like growth. We're looking for a marketing kind of a leader as well. And in the US, like more enterprise sales, more kind of licensing focused, brand focused sales and business development. So pretty much like everything you can imagine, I guess.
And one thing that you mentioned with these brands is that, like, because I've seen some reports that are saying that the brands are the sort of futures of NFTs, and then we've actually had the discussions on the podcast with some of the people who are very much into blockchain gaming, like 100%, crypto maniacs. They don't think that brands is really the way to go. It's like they think about other things. What why are you working with brands? Like, is it just they give a good PR for sure, but are there other reasons?
Yeah, I mean, like generally so far, our work with brands have been very inbound driven. So we basically, if there's a brand comes in, has an idea that we can't say no to, and that is like easy to execute, then we do it because we don't have anyone that actually works with brands at the moment. So it's very much driven by that. But I think long term, like the early crypto NFT community right now is like, brand is doing a cash grab, yuck. Yeah, so it's like, when am I gonna buy that?
Exactly.
But I think, like long term, people are going to use the metaverse, and people like brands. Like people buy brands. They're like those real world brands have built their brands over hundreds of years in some cases, and I think they realize that they have an opportunity to also like take part of the virtual world and have play a role there, and then like it makes sense that if you're a player of a game or user of the metaverse, you're going to buy metaverse native brands as well, but you're going to also buy real world brands. Like it's just, I think it's hard to see how that's not going to happen.
Okay, I get your point. I've asked a lot of questions.
Yeah.
What have I haven't asked that I should be asking?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the question, I didn't answer fully the question about like kind of the plans for the future and
yeah. Because I just keep firing so many questions when you go forward. Like, okay, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? I'm just very interested in all of this. But yeah, like so you're scale. Let's say you scale up to double your company size from the current 35 to about 70 during 2022. What happens in the next couple of years? Like, market's going to crash, then it's going to bounce back. How's Ready Player Me looking in 3 years?
Yeah, totally. So I mean, our main goal is always to get better and higher quality developers on board using our outer system, because that's kind of what we live and die by, basically. So like that's always going to be the most important thing for us. So we're always building better tools, better system basically for developers to adopt it. So that's going to be the most important thing. And also to achieve that, we're now this year we're going from being this kind of time saver tool mostly for developers to becoming a monetization tool. So integrate Ready for Me becomes a way you actually make money with the game, and that helps us to sign with bigger companies, and it helps us make the proposition more attractive basically. And yeah, we're scaling to from now 1,400 developers to a lot more, but it's also the quality of the companies and games is as important or more important than the volume. But obviously, if you have an open platform that anyone can use, then it's like it drives a lot of activity, but it also drives a lot of innovation, new types of use cases. We want to be in the next Fortnite or in the next kind of a big game from the ground up and grow with them, and that's the plan.
But can you create your own metaverse in the sense if you're in 1,600 developers and in 3 years you're in 5,000 developers invested, like you essentially have your own metaverse because everybody's using your avatar system.
Yeah, so we never want to like compete with any game or like we don't want developers to feel that we're trying to mine users from them and like put them into our own world and then somehow another way
cross promote them to different games.
So it needs to be like it needs to be driven by the user, like cross game usage and so forth, but we don't want to compete. We just want to be a neutral platform that just enables the avatar layer. And of course there's other things you can add to the avatar, like other metadata you can get from games that you can transfer along, assets you own, of course, a wallet you can pay with potentially. There's a lot of things that you can add to the avatar. We just believe the visual representation of the avatar is like at the center of our metaverse experience. And if we can somehow provide that, then that's kind of like going to be strong. And the other thing is like we're exploring with allowing avatars to come out of games and go to other games. So take a Fortnite avatar out of Fortnite, and we are the rails that make that avatar travel to other games and apps as well, or have a limited set of Fortnite skins that you can wear on Ready Player Me avatars that then become usable in other places as well. So like that's also kind of a part of the vision, is to be like rails for avatars and not just an avatar system ourselves.
So you're not planning to also create like a hub where all these avatars can come, mingle and then go to other apps from your hub. You're not planning any like that.
Yeah, I mean the hub. If it's natural to have something like that, then yes. But
just came to mind because there's another New York startup. I think it's called Bunch. Yeah, it's called Bunch.
Yeah.
And they've introduced just recently the sort of a hub that they've been working on for a year. So I was kind of thinking about, okay, well, they've had the social system of again being integrated and allowing people to be together and play games together, and they're more like a discovery platform. So they put in now a more of a visual element for the discovery with avatars, etc. So anything like that potentially in the future?
Could be. Yeah, we're open to all kinds of directions, and we'll learn and we'll build those things. What we what we believe in is that it's incredibly hard to build this cross-game avatars. And like we have more than 1,000 developers. Our competitors combined have about 3. So we need to make sure that this continues to be in the same ratio. And then there's other things you can build on top of that. And the main thing is like everybody needs to benefit from this existing, right? Otherwise it won't exist long term.
Exactly. Damn, Timmu, super exciting. I took 1 hour of your time. I think a lot of people learned a lot of things about Ready Player Me. There's links in the description again for the CryptoPunks campaign that you have running, your webpage. Is there a career page that or how do you want people to connect with you, those who are interested in joining Ready Player Me?
Yeah, it's on the webpage. There's a career.
Perfect.
But we don't have all of the roles listed yet, so if you don't find anything from there, just hit us up.
Okay, how do they hit you up? Like, what kind of a link?
That's a good question.
I'm all about like the funnel optimization.
Thank you for that. No drop off. So my own email is Timmu that's still the old name. Yeah.
So we'll cut the email from here so that people don't email you too much.
Yeah, so that's a good point.
So that will be bleeped out or cut off. So no, your email is not being shared.
That's good. That's like I don't know how I didn't think about it.
There's going to be more listeners than just a handful on this one. So, let's not give the email away.
I have enough unanswered emails.
Exactly. That's what I thought. Timmu, it was a pleasure. And I'm sure everybody listening has even more questions, and they will be getting connected to you and your company, and excited to hear back from you in about a year and hear how the scale up has gone and what are the next steps.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was really fun, and let's catch up in a year. Let's catch up in real life earlier, but
without avatars.
Yes,
in Miami.
Avatars. Yes, in Miami.
Okay, thank you everybody for listening, and we are out.